Hello everyone, this is Ziki and I hope you are all doing very well, and I'm back with some trending current affairs stories coming from South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Eswatini, and of course some of it coming from China. So the first story that we have, of course, is coming from Zimbabwe, where Prayzah, the musical star himself, is going to be featuring in a movie called, just pardon me, I might not be able to pronounce the name correctly, but the movie is called Alke Bulan. Okay, so he's going to be featuring alongside some other African renowned actors from South Africa, from Nigeria, and around Africa. So we're going to be talking about this movie when it comes out, and moving forward to the next news coming from Zimbabwe. We also know about Baba Charamba, or Pastor Charamba, who came out, regarding the copyright issues, whereby some music artists were given copyright in their channel, or their songs had to be taken away from YouTube. Well, we said what he did was very, very right, because he felt like some of these artists were taking gospel music and putting worldly things, on their gospel songs. So he felt like it was very blasphemous to transform gospel music songs that talk about God and Jesus Christ and Christianity, and turning it into bedroom songs. So I said, well, lessons has to be taught there. Therefore, some of these songs had to be taken down. Okay, of course, we saw a lot of people saying, well, it's not like that. People are just taking the beat because the beat is interesting and turning it into something that is very interesting. But Baba Charama is saying, well, it shouldn't be like that. Again, talking about Zimbabwe, we can talk of the high-end store that is Trueth. We all know about Trueth. Clothes are beautiful, they are original, they are quality, and of course, they are expensive. And now, looking at the Zimbabwean economy, things are very, very hard. People are no longer getting the luxury of buying clothes the same way that they used to do long time ago. Therefore, Trueth is going to be closing all its shops around Zimbabwe, except the two shops that are going to remain in Harare, the capital city, right? But everywhere else they're going to be closing, because now there are second-hand clothing markets that are everywhere. So people are preferring to buy second-hand clothing rather than buying new clothes, not because they want to wear second-hand clothing, but because of the economic situation in Zimbabwe. They don't have money to spare to go and buy expensive clothes or quality clothes from Trueth. Therefore, Trueth is closing its doors in Zimbabwe. There's something that a lot of people, they are really disheartened by it. Like, if a shop like Trueth is closing, then what is going to remain of Zimbabwe there? Another story from Zimbabwe is that the Zimbabwean government has been invited to come and observe elections in Russia that are going to be taking place from the 15th to the 17th of March. They said they're going to be sending people from the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission and also some other stakeholders from Zimbabwe who are going to be representing Zimbabwe in Russia as election observers. And also, speaking of which, we know the issue about the Zimbabwean elections and how a lot of people have been talking about it. Now, the Zimbabwean embassy in this, the United States Embassy in Zimbabwe issued a statement, and I'm going to attach for you the statement of what they said regarding the sanctions review and the way forward. Now, as we move forward from Zimbabwe to South Africa, we know about the South African elections that are coming on the 29th of May 2024. Like I said in my previous video, I said that the South African embassy in China announced that on the 18th of May, it is the day that, those who are in the diaspora in China are going to be casting their votes. It's only one day, so people are encouraged to make use of that one particular day, that is the 18th of May, to come and, cast their votes. But the general elections are going to be held on the 29th of May 2024. Now, we have seen the Umkhonto Wesizwe that is led by Jacob Zuma coming into the picture, the EFF, and some other, political parties. However, the Umkhonto Wesizwe is alleged to have come out saying, well, if they don't get the two-thirds majority in the upcoming election, then they're going to cause riots, and they're also going to cause chaos in the country, as they feel that they deserve to win. Also, there's a case that was put into the court by the ANC regarding the logo that is being used by Umkhonto Wesizwe, and also the trademark of the Umkhonto Wesizwe. The ANC is arguing that this logo belongs to the ANC military wing of the Umkhonto Wesizwe. However, the MK party, they want to use this logo, for their own political party, and they're saying, well, if they lose this case in the courts, they're going to cause some problems again, right? So this also made the ANC to come out and condemn the violence that it said that is going to happen after these things they don't happen. So President Ramaphosa came out there saying that, well, people who talk about that, they're enemies of democracy and therefore they deserve to be jailed. He said those who threaten instability, should things not go their way in the elections, will be arrested. Like I said, he said they belong to the jail. Okay, so some of the MK supporters, they came out saying, well, they're threatening violence if they don't get the 2/3 majority, or if their party doesn't win in the court. They said they're going to be, causing some violence there in the party. And they said, well, also, it's kind of complicated in this issue, right? It's very, very complicated with regards to the Umkhonto Sizwe that is being led by Jacob Zuma. They've been uttering some things that the ANC are not happy about, but I'm going to read for you the statement that was said by South Africa responding to Umkhonto Sizwe's statements regarding the violence and the riot and the instability that they plan to do if things don't go their way. So the ANC said here, as the African National Congress, ANC, we condemn the recent statements made by representative of Jacob Zuma's Umkhonto Sizwe party, which threatened violence against the Independent Electoral Commission, that is the IEC, and undermine the foundations of our democracy. The threats of anarchy, riots, and the disruption of elections are not only reckless, but also pose a direct threat to the institutions of democracy and the people of South Africa. Such inflammatory rhetoric has no place in our democratic society and runs counter to the principles of peace, coexistence, and respect of the rule of law. Therefore, as the ANC, we call on all South Africans to stand united against any attempt to intimidate or undermine the integrity of our democratic institutions. We urge our citizens to remain vigilant and report any acts of intimidation or violence to the relevant authorities. It is essential to reaffirm our commitment to upholding the democratic process and ensuring that all eligible citizens can exercise their rights to vote freely and without fear. Threats of violence and have no peace, or they have no place in our democracy, and must be unequivocally condemned by all political parties and civil society organizations. In the face of these threats, the ANC remains steadfast in its commitments to promoting peace, stability, and the rule of law. We call all South Africans to reject violence and to work together to safeguard our democratic institutions and rights of all citizens. So they were responding to the threats that were made by the MK party, saying they're going to have riots, instability, and cause chaos if ever their wishes are not met, or they don't get to the 2/3 of majority in the upcoming elections. Now, as we move forward, now we're in the immigration issue. 4 people have been arrested in the issue of immigration, identity fraud and corruption. 2 Congolese and 2 Bangladesh people, including a South African immigration officer who is facing about 1,159 counts of fraud regarding the issue of issuing fraudulent documents to foreigners, working with South Africans, stealing people's identities and selling them to foreigners, and then changing the pictures or the photos on those documents and editing and adding documents that are not correct there. So this South African immigration officer, who happens to be a female, was arrested and is going to be sentenced very, very soon. Has been arrested alongside 2 Congolese and 2 foreign, and 2 Bangladesh nationals in this regard, including many other cases that have been investigated by the South African immigration. Now, again, moving to, okay, I left something here. The Zimbabwean, Zimbabwean government, like I said, issued with invitation to go and observe the elections in Russia. And then in Zambia, the Zambian Lusaka immigration, they arrested 70 suspects of illegal immigrants who are in the country illegally, and they're going to be sentenced. Some of them, they've already been arrested. it's 49 Burundians, 12 Congolese, 6 Tanzanians, and 3 Rwandese. They are in Zambia and they've been arrested and they're going to be, some of them are going to be deported. Minors have been released because it's also included some minors there. Now, regarding the drought that is facing the region, the southern region, Zambia has, instructed the Zambian National Services, including the soldiers, to go and work in the farms in terms of agriculture, and they're working on irrigated maize in order to mitigate the drought. And this is under the intervention initiative by the Zambian government. As you know, that the government of Zambia, declared a national disaster to the dry spell the country is facing. They said they need to do something very, very fast. Therefore, they are engaging the Zambian Zambian University, the University of Zambia, where graduates from their institutions are being denied visas, which are called the high potential individual visas by the United Kingdom Home Office, saying that their degrees are of low grade. I'm going to make a video that is separate regarding this issue because it has been an outcry on social media. A lot of people asking, like, are the Zambian degrees being issued by the University of Zambia poor? Because remember, the University of Zambia is the #1 university in Zambia. So if it is issuing degrees that are very poor, what is going on regarding that issue? Okay, so these are some of the issues that I'm sharing with you here. They say that there are some issues with the university, with the youth university degrees that are being issued by Zambia, and therefore people in Zambia are like asking, what is going on? Is it that UK is just, just wanting to dismiss them, or there's really an issue with their degrees? That, my friend, is a training story that is happening in Zambia. And another story that we have is coming from Eswatini, where electricity was increasing, and the people of Eswatini are aggrieved, saying, how are we going to cope? How are we going to be able to pay 100 rands for only 40 units of electricity? It doesn't last any time, okay? So they're saying, what are we going to do? As you know, that 70% of people from Eswatini are living beyond the poverty determined line. So they're like, what are we going to do? Is things are still escalating and going high, and also looking at the drought that is facing the region. That is another trending story coming from Eswatini there. And then going to China, Africa. Now, China issued its foreign policy regarding Africa and other countries, and they say China will continue to stand firmly with the African brothers and support Africa. The Chinese foreign minister made his first visit to Africa. Each year, it makes its first visit to Africa, and it has been happening for the past 34 years, okay, where they say that every year they make their first visit to be the one done in Africa. And the Minister of Foreign Affairs in China said they choose Africa for their first visit for every year, and this is our diplomatic tradition, okay, to make sure that they visit Africa, because Africa and China, they are the strongest in terms of diplomatic relations. Like I say, relations, like I said, it's about 34 years they've been doing the same thing. They said, why are we choosing Africa to be the first port of call in every new year? Is because China and Africa are brothers who treat each other with sincerity and share common destiny. And they said we should fight side by side in the anti-imperialist and anti-colonial struggle, help each other and on the road of development and revitalization, and uphold morality of all people. So this is the statement from the China Foreign Affairs Minister, and there's so many things that were mentioned there. For me to mention them in this video, it's going to be very, very long. So, but these are just the highlights of some of the things that were spoken there. And they said, again, there's an issue with President of Kenya, that is President Ruto, President of Zambia, Hakainde Hichilema, President of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo. They made a joint statement regarding the reforms that need to be taken in terms of financial systems, in relating to Africa. They say that needs to be dealt with immediately. They say the conversation on reforming the global financial architecture has often felt more like against Africa, therefore this and against the rest of the world. But the trilateral governments need to come together and change this issue. So this is another thing that came out again as a trending story on social media. They said they're going to be looked into, and they said the financial systems have to be fixed right now. Like I said, the statement came from the president of Ghana, Kenya, and Zambia. Okay, and this story is found in The Economist. This is where you can find the full report. I cannot give you full the whole story here because it's more, too much of it. Is so much. It's gonna be, our video is going to be very, very long. And again, looking at the International Women's Day, Kenya, the Kenyan president announced that they've appointed 10 women ambassadors and 6 women deputy ambassadors in commemoration of the the International Women's Day. So these are the news highlights that are trending. Like I said, they are just the highlights. If you want to read more, you can find this news out there. And then we've got all Africa Games that started in Ghana today. Many games are going on there. We've got Team South Africa. I saw Team South Africa going there. Team Zimbabwe, Team Zambia, many games are going to be taking place in Ghana starting today. All right, so you can just find TV stations where you can watch these interesting games. And of course, we're going to be seeing the Zimbabwe Premier League is going to be starting its new season tomorrow. That is Saturday, and there are so many other games that are going to be played again tomorrow. In the English Premier League, we are going to be seeing a lot of games being played there. You're going to be seeing Manchester United taking on Everton, Crystal Palace taking on Luton, Bournemouth taking on Sheffield, Wolves taking on Fulham, Arsenal taking on Brentford. And then on Sunday, we're going to be seeing Aston Villa versus Tottenham, West Ham versus Birmingham, and then Brighton taking on Tottenham. And the big game is going to be Liverpool taking on Manchester City, and then we're going to see Chelsea taking on Newcastle. Those are the games that are going to be played this weekend in La Liga. We're going to be seeing today Barcelona taking on Real Mallorca, and like I said, the Zimbabwean League, we're going to be seeing some games being played there in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe Caps United taking on Chicken Inn, Arsenal Movers taking on Ngezi Platinum, FC Barcelona taking on there's no Barcelona in Zimbabwe. Kariba taking on Telwan, Green Fuel taking on Blue Wire Chiefs, and then we're going to see Manica Diamonds. I'm so sorry. Let me laugh a little bit, okay? Oh my God. Okay, we're going to see Manica Diamond taking on Simba FC, Highlanders, the big one, taking on Dynamos, then Wange taking on Yada, and then Yada, we're going to be seeing Kama Billiard featuring in that game, okay? Oh my God. Pardon me, guys. I made a very, very funny mistake where I was saying FC Barcelona is going to be taking on Chicken Inn. That is so crazy, guys. Very, very crazy. But anyway, my name is Ziki, and I'll be back again with more stories. And until I come back again, please take care, all right?